This initial finish section just shows the graphic sticker on the background without texture. But when you take a look, if you dim down this image to work over, depending on how you like to work in Illustrator, and just taking an overall rectangular shape with add anchor points to the corners, and just to show you, you can drag these across, get the space, and then use the direct selection to select the points in order to round them off with the widgets. And then you have the outline. Just keep it as the outline without a fill, and allows you to still see inside, so you can make a rounded rectangle with the widgets, a little triangular shape at the top, using the shape builder to cross over. And these pieces up at the top, this rounded corner, you can just do the same with the widgets on the bottom 2 points. Paste it in front and put a copy so you have the same image dragged over to the top. The texture on the bottom is just a rounded rectangle, or using the widgets with a gradient fill, and just kind of toggle through from the swatches at the bottom of the library to go through the different pieces. And metal sometimes has a preset that works, and you can use the annotator to just do a vertical gradient tool and just option and duplicate it down and group all these together so you have this texture easily placed in there. And the second section's anytime doing this logo, just making a rectangular shape, copy, paste in front, and just accordion it shorter, make a smaller square. This is showing a logo that's almost like another zip disk, with the direct selection tool and the anchor point tool, and a little rectangle in order of the pathfinder to punch a hole in it, and then changing the background to the black. The option R is for the registration on a glyph. When you guys get into the text tool, you just copy it down there, use the same font or Helvetica for the name of this. Copy that down and do the same for the bottom. Keep in mind, if you have one text box, you can just manipulate the different letters, change the font and the formatting, and it makes it that easy. So you can highlight that, change it, and keep it all in one text box. It doesn't have to be, but it makes it a little bit easier to manipulate. And then something like this logo, which is unique, you can use the pen tool or pencil tool, which gives you more control. The pen tool does. And locating this shape, there's a little pencil action there. But it'll get you these 3 shapes, spelling out zip, which is the brand of this storage device, and then you can group that together. Taking again at the other logo, it's a text piece down below. It has a little TM that you can also put down as a glyph, a rounded rectangle tool. Up at the top here with a pen tool, making this letter I, so to speak, and just selecting them all using the align tool to group them together, the punch through and the pathfinder, and then just lining everything up. And it's just a matter of going through. This back part has like a watermark of the logo, a couple strokes with the stroke tool, just drag that in there, change it to the same percentage, group that together, and you kind of have this entire little graphic placed out pretty quickly. The last part is just kind of using the pathfinder to put 2 panels on either side, almost like a triptych. Grab these with the shape builder, and now you have separate imagery that you can, once you put a gradient fill on it or an effect, they'll separate and give you that line to it. So a couple different ways to illustrate that. So it's just a simple piece. You can try some of the texture under the appearance panel and the effects. It'll give you a little bit of a different look to it. But again, as Illustrator goes through, it gives you a quick, wider range of images that you can pop in there. And trying to place some texture just to give it that grainy felt. You can also take off the gradient to make it not as strong. To keep it a little subtle, change the coloring of it if you'd like. And that builds that piece up, so you can group that together. It's always good to make a copy if you're going to distort something. Here's just using the distort tool as it starts to illustrate. Kind of lose the logo, so you have to make that into a path. So it can duplicate it and just put a piece right underneath it, just to give it the thickness to it. Highlight that with a gradient and use the annotator to show the image shading different, just like you would in a perspective drawing, and it makes it that easy.